Hello, everybody, and welcome to Written in Blood. This is John. Today, I want to talk about my top five favorite werewolf books of all time. I mentioned that in my first video in the horror booktube tag, that one of my favorite genres of horror fiction is werewolf fiction. So I figured this would be a good time to do a list for that. So let's get underway. The fifth one I don't have a physical copy of, but the fifth one is Cycle of the Werewolf. My choice for number five is Cycle of the Werewolf by Stephen King. I know technically it's a novella, but the reason I put it as, of course I said werewolf fiction, didn't I? I didn't say it had to be a novel anyway. But one of the main reasons I picked this book is for the illustrations. The illustrations are by the late Bernie Wrightson, and he just had his finger on the pulse of horror art. I mean, he just did such a fantastic job. If you don't believe me, check out his Frankenstein. Wow. But the reason I love Cycle of the Werewolf is, for the illustrations, and I love the way King uses kind of used important holidays like Valentine's Day, of course, 4th of July, to kind of frame his stories. And trying to think of the right word. I can't think of the word, but it just made it. It's just, I'm sorry. I'm getting tongue-tied. Blah. Stop. Anyway, number five is Cycle of the Werewolf by Stephen King. My number four, I have a copy of it on my Kindle, and it's actually a trilogy, but I'm going to talk mainly about the first book in the trilogy, and that is Gary Brandner's The Howling. Now, of course, we know The Howling was made into a film starring Dee Wallace, and it ties for number one with The Thing as my all-time favorite movie. I love The Howling, the movie, and I love The Howling, the book. And the thing is neither one of them. The only thing they have in common is that they both are about a colony of werewolves, and they're both about werewolves. Other than that, the comparisons, there is no comparison. They're not anywhere near the same. But The Howling, the book, was the first thing I read, and so, of course, when I found out there was going to be a movie, I was just super excited. It was one of the first books of werewolf fiction that was really descriptive of the werewolves and of their attacks, of the gore. So I read the book in I think I read it in one night. I mean, I was young. I was a teenager, and I just ran through that book. So that's my pick for number four. My pick for number five is one that's a little bit of a style of a quieter type of horror, and it's Thomas Tessier's The Night Walker. This is almost one of those. It's almost like a kind of like a, not so much a fever dream, but it's almost like one of those. Is he or isn't he a werewolf book? It's about a Vietnam vet who starts basically having, I don't know if they're hallucinations, but dreams of course, running through forest and just attacking and killing and everything. And so it's kind of one of those where, I've read it twice, and it's still one of those, it's like, I love the writing and I love the quietness of it, but it's like kind of one of those, I'm like, it's just one of those, is he or isn't he type of werewolf novels. So that's my pick for number three, Thomas Tessier's The Night Walker. My pick for number four is a little bit of a sad one. The guy that wrote the book was a Nicholas Picaro. He was an auxiliary policeman and was killed in the line of duty. So this is his one and only book that he wrote. Unless, maybe he had a manuscript or something of another book, but I don't think he did. But anyway, my pick for number two is The Wolfman by Nicholas Picaro. This one is really, to me, a character-driven one. The character, the werewolf in the book, and I'm sorry, I'm going to open the book up because his name escapes me. Marlo Higgins. He's another one, this Vietnam veteran. and he just kind of had, he says, he's had a hard life and everything. Um, he's been in prison, drifts from town to town, and it's not a is he or isn't he. He is definitely a werewolf. But I guess the best way to put it is he's kind of along the lines of Dexter. Dexter being a serial killer, but he only killed bad people. And this is kind of the way this is with the Wolfman, and it's just such a fantastic read. I mean, if you haven't read this book, if you can get it Kindle, however you want to get it, paperback. I'm not even sure if it's in paperback, but check it out, The Wolfman by Nicholas Picaro. And it sounds like my voice is going out, but hopefully it's not, because we're down to number one. Again, number one is also a part of a trilogy. And I do have all three books here with me. But my choice for number one of my favorite werewolf book of all time is When the Autumn Moon is Bright, and is the autobiography of a werewolf hunter. This book, I've read this book twice. There are actually two other books in the series. The next one is Heart of Scars. And then the third book in the series is The Lineage. All three books are fantastic. The author, Brian Easton, he just is so, I don't know how to describe it. His writing is just so descriptive. And he just doesn't use like the same type of werewolf over and over. The story is the story of a guy, his name's Sylvester Logan James. And I don't want to spoil too much, but his father is killed by a werewolf. And Sylvester's, I believe it's his uncle, Michael Winterfox. He's an Indian, he's like a shaman, and he trains Sylvester to be a werewolf hunter. So the entire book, the entire series is about Sylvester's life as a werewolf hunter. And there's so many different styles of werewolves. Some of them talk, some are bigger than others, some of them are just, there's so many different styles and everything. And, normally me reading a book about a werewolf hunter and not and to cheer for the werewolf hunter is really strange, because like I said, I'm a werewolf fiction guy. I love werewolf fiction, and it's because of the werewolves. But he gives you werewolves galore in these books. In fact, one thing, and I don't think it's really a spoiler, in one of the books he goes up against basically the king werewolf, Peter Stubbe. And if you know your history, just go back and look up Peter Stubbe, and it'll tell you that he was a werewolf in, I believe, Germany. And basically would have been considered like the king, the big kahuna of werewolves. So, I just love the books. And he is working on another trilogy about Michael Winterfox. It's kind of a prequel to these. But again, the autobiography of a werewolf hunter, When the Autumn Moon is Bright. Check it out. You'll probably find the book now under just the title, The Autobiography of a Werewolf Hunter, probably book one or something. But again, the trilogy by Brian Easton. Check it out. And so that is my pick for the top 5 werewolf fiction books of all time, or my top 5 favorite. So I'm sorry if I got a little tongue-tied. If you like my video, hit the like button. It's like, I think it's right there if you're looking, have your phone reversed or whatever. So hit the like button. If you like my channel, please subscribe. Please leave a comment if you feel like leaving a comment. And if you want to know if I'm putting out more videos, please hit that little bell. That's it. Thank you, and bye-bye.